So welcome back, everyone. My next guest has been with us before, and I am so pleased to welcome back Howard Farkash, who is a financial service insurance professional. Howard, I want you to tell us a little bit how you run your agency and more about what your focus is on.
Well, Carol, first, congratulations, obviously, on 17 years.
Thank
That's
you.
Fantastic. Keep that up another 17 years. I hope that we're both able to do that. I took a year off from visiting with you on a regular basis and talking about what my agency does, but it's indeed good to be back. In short, I work in 4 major insurance areas, what we call life products. That's life insurance, health insurance, including Medicare, disability income, and long-term care. I'm looking forward to being here in studio on the first Monday of each month, and we'll divide those types of insurances into bite-sized pieces and make it worthwhile for people to pay attention.
That sounds great to me. That's the first Monday of each month at 1:30, right here on KFNX 1100 on your dial. So, what is your first program that it's going to be on?
Well, for the next few sessions, we'll focus on Medicare because the Medicare renewal season is fast approaching. But before I begin a deeper dive on Medicare, I want to say today's episode will be dedicated to the memory of Sarah Rago, who was a valuable colleague, a wonderful strategic sounding board, and she is the one who actually suggested that radio was the way to get our message out to the public. Sarah, we miss you, and we'll carry on.
You know, I knew Sarah, and I knew her too, and I respected her. She certainly was a warm person. She was so caring. But as you said, we will carry on. Let me ask you, with our first comment, our broadcast goes out to the entire state of Arizona and beyond. Our audience includes people of all ages. And how is Medicare important to younger people who won't be Medicare eligible for years and years and years?
Well, Carol, that's a good question. Medicare, of course, may not be your thing right now if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s. But the Medicare system we have, and we'll talk about today, may be vastly different than what will be in place when you turn 65 and become eligible for Medicare. But you have friends, neighbors, and relatives who might turn to you for guidance and a basic understanding. Surely won't hurt. And let me tell you of a mandatory disclaimer marketers of Medicare must make. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Currently, we represent 7 organizations which offer 89 products in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov, 1-800-MEDICARE, or your local state insurance program for help with plan choices.
So let me ask you another question. How is your agency different than other agencies out there?
Well, Carol, let me answer that from the Medicare perspective first. There are 2 types of agencies. One type, and this is my type, plays by the rules, spends lots of time with prospects, determines prospects' needs, presents consumers with all their choices, educates consumers on the good, the not so good, and even the darker side of particular plans, is usually local and available to help their enrolled clients when service and billing problems occur long after the enrollment. The decision choice of a plan belongs to the prospect. This is the methodology of building an ongoing, caring relationship. The other type of agent we might call the money-grabbing hit-and-run artist. The other selling cartel is comprised of people who you will probably never meet and see, cold call you, and want to sell you a plan. Any plan, just to get you to sign up, and then they disappear. Gone. Kaput. Sweet-sounding words and confusing technical jargon polish the plan they are selling, but confuse the prospect. They rely on deceptive, massive celebrity TV advertising, and then they don't even tell you all your choices. They steer you to the Medicare Advantage plan they like, not necessarily the best plan for you. In effect, they're making important decisions to meet their objectives, not the prospect's best interest. I'm not in this second group. And no, I'm not the only agent in the first group. Local independent agents and brokers like me take care of their clients and put clients' needs and wants ahead of their own. The hit-and-run artist is transactional. In these transactional-based enrollments, there is a minimum of time spent. Bim, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Be careful there.
Okay, I'll watch myself. A minimum of concern As to the right plan, and the inclusion of network doctors is often the only consideration given to buyer needs and wants.
You know, it's really interesting. How did things get that way? I can't understand that. Why aren't everybody like you?
Well, thank you, that's important. I think a lot of people are wondering. The answer to that lies in following the money and training of brokers. Just a bit of history. Medicare came into existence in 1965/1966. The government said, you turn 65 and we the people, your government, will cover 80% of the medical bills you encounter. Shortly thereafter, Medicare supplements, also known as Medigaps, came along to fill the 20% gap in Medicare because Medicare, the government, only covered 80% of the bills. People wanted more coverage than 80%, hence Medicare supplements offered by private companies were started. And in a 30,000-foot view, that is the way Medicare ran until 2006, when Medicare Advantage was introduced.
Well, you have Medicare supplements to cover that 20%, right? That's a 20% gap. Tell me a little bit more about Medicare supplements.
Right, Carol. In fact, Medicare supplements are also called Medigap because they cover the 20% gap not covered by Medicare. Medicare supplement plans are standardized carrier to carrier, and little education of the consumer is required. For the most part, supplements are a commodity. Salt in the red box, salt in the blue box. It's all NaCl, so it winds up being a price issue, a price competition between brands or carriers.
So why were Advantage systems introduced?
Well, the government was on the hook to provide 80% coverage of every person's over 65, and there was a large and rapidly growing number of people 65 and older, and the price of medical service was growing upward also. The question was, could the government outsource this responsibility and save money, taxpayer money in the process? Tests came along, and test projects and trial projects were run, and Medicare Advantage as we know it today was born back again in 2006. Now the consumer had to make a choice between supplements and Advantage plans. It's one type or the other. You can't have both. And because the Advantage plans are not standardized, they need to be explained in detail, great detail, compared and sold. That leads us to a sales force which must be compensated, and because of the plans that are not product or standardized and more complicated, the sales compensation for Advantage enrollments is greater. It's about twice as much as the sales compensation for supplement enrollments. Good, conscientious agents will spend the time with prospects, meet face-to-face, explain the benefits and limitations of each type of plan, and proceed with the consumer's best interest plan based on consumer choice. My book of business runs about 85% supplement because I offer and present both Advantage and supplements. Now think of it, I could actually increase my pay if I sold more Advantage plans. But I present both types of plans and allow the consumer to make his choice.
Well, I also want to talk something, and we're going to go to break soon, so I'm going to just say something right here from my heart, okay? I had a question about the difference between Advantage and supplement. And I told you that even my ex-husband, we were questioning about a couple of different things. You sent to me the most in-depth explanation I had ever heard before. And when you work with Howard, that is what you will get. You will get somebody who cares about you and is going to explain it in depth to you.
Thanks, Carol. That's true. That's how I operate, and that's how many other independent agents operate. We are not hit-and-run artists. We really care for our clients.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk further. And I think the main thing that people should do is to call you. And his phone number is 520-850-2101. It is a complimentary, it's a consultation.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. So just call Howard, and the number is 520-850-2101. Hang tight, we're going to be back in just a minute.
Thank you, that was marvelous. Oh, that was marvelous. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to keep on
very
going.
good, very informative.
And we are going to keep on going, and you see how you're doing it this way. You can talk right from here, And it'll come out just the same?
I don't
It'll
have
be
it,
more-
so I got
I
this
know.
technical presentation.
I know, but it's fine, it's working.
Yeah, thank you. And we're okay.
You would not believe how many people are not aware of that. And in the job that I used to have, I had so many people that were on Medicare come in, and so many people had no idea that they had signed up for an Advantage plan. They were totally shamoozled, whatever, by the salesperson,
That is a problem.
and they don't
Yeah.
realize they get more money. You're right on with it.
Yeah, well, like I say.
I tell as many people as I can, don't ever just go for Advantage without
I'm
knowing.
taking aim at the telemarketing aspect of
And they,
this.
like you said, the celebrities that go on there and say like,
Right.
they're not on Advantage plans, give me a break.
No. Thank you for noticing it. Let me just ramble. From now on, we'll talk like we always talk. I kiss you except for on the.
It's okay, you don't want your wife to see that. But anyway, yeah, we're going okay, I'm hoping, I have no idea where we are here in this, but
We're about
right now we're
halfway
here,
through.
okay,
We're
good,
halfway
so we're
through.
doing good, okay,
We're
good.
better than halfway through.
Okay. I have it down here, right here. I got you covered. I will tell you, I have never, ever gotten an email like his, that when I sent it off to my ex, who thinks he knows everything, right? And I said, you're gonna love this email because it made me understand it. And I don't care what you do when you talk to somebody and you hear it, you might even hear it and listen to it and it's like, yeah, okay, but it doesn't sink in. That's the big problem, it doesn't really sink in.
Yeah,
And then you walk away, and you think you understand, but you don't really understand.
exactly.
It's very complex.
It's true.
And it's okay, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, it's okay.
Doesn't matter.
It's national, that doesn't matter. That guy comes on all the time, it's okay. You can't help that. We can try, I'll try and work around it. I just have to send myself a note. We'll change that around. So welcome back, everyone. We are talking with Howard Farkash. We are talking about Medicare right now and the differences. And I said it earlier, and I truly mean this. When you want to really understand the differences between Advantage and Supplement, I'm telling you now, he's the one for you to talk to because he really makes you take you through it in depth. I don't know anyone that does it like you. So what you're saying really is making decisions about Medicare coverage is really, really complex. Just listening to ads on TV or calling those 800 numbers or answering a phone like to a telemarketer or something will briefly qualify you and turn you over to like what, a telebroker or whatever you call them, and you're likely to never even know them, which is amazing that people actually will call someone and think that's okay. Don't do that.
Exactly, Carol. Making decisions about Medicare coverage affects your life more than ordering from Amazon or some other online retailer, or making hotel reservations over the phone. And we all know how that can go astray. Wrong merchandise, no reservation when you get to the hotel, it can be a real mess. Making the critical supplement versus Advantage decision affects your life way out into the future, say 25 or 30 years. You really need to know how Medicare works, and you need to know about the rules of Medicare, and then the gotcha traps. The best bet is to work with a good local broker, one you'll get to know and can perpetuate a working relationship with over a long stretch. Medicare coverage is not once and done. It really needs to be reviewed each year so you can change plans for better coverage or lower costs. A telebroker cares about making a sale. A local broker cares about taking good and proper care of his client.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm on the same page, but I will tell you that it seems to me that you are stacked up with it, like you get a series of questions from people. Let's talk a little bit about some of what those are.
Well, one of the questions I get is how do you find a good broker? What is a good broker? That's a difficult question to answer. You'll probably ask a friend, a neighbor, or a relative for a recommendation. You might ask that friend to ask his agent to give you a call. But that won't work, because government marketing rules prohibit a broker from making cold calls. Yeah, I said they prohibit them, but that doesn't mean it doesn't go on. So we're prohibited from making cold calls. So you'll need, if you want to really play by the rules, you'll need to get the recommended broker's phone number and give him a call. Well, that may be good. That may be good, but the question is, how do you define a good broker? Just because your friend, neighbor, or relative suggested him doesn't make him a good broker. And the answer to that, of course not. Let's face it, when you're looking for a broker, you're actually hiring somebody to do a specific job for you. But to do an interview, if you're going to be hiring somebody, you need qualifying questions. And here are a few you might want to consider. How long have you been in the selling Medicare insurance? There's no right or wrong answer here, but experience counts. Will you visit personally, face-to-face with me to explain how Medicare works? Explain me the rules and the exceptions, the traps. Well, be aware that you may be more transactional focused as opposed to building that one-on-one working relationship. Do you deal with Medicare supplements? If the answer is no, this is not being fair to you. If he or she does not deal with supplements, will he or she present complete information? If he or she does deal with supplements, will he or she present complete information about them? He or she will probably tell you, yeah, of course I will. But that's just to keep you as a prospect. Do you deal in standalone prescription drug plans? If no, how are you going to get the best prescription plan coverage that you need, basically? What's your favorite Medicare Advantage? That's a good question you should be asking. If he has a favorite, be aware of possible steering and looking out for his best interest, not yours. Does he favor a Medicare Advantage over Medicare Supplement? If he says yes, be aware, once again, of possible steering and looking out for his best interest in the form of higher compensation and not your best interest. Will he or she study your prescriptions so as to determine the plan with the lowest aggregate premium and copay costs? If not, you're not getting a full service from that particular agent. So, you might be concerned how I stack up against the series of questions. And I'll tell you frankly, I'd hire me. I surely would.
You know, but you know what, I'm gonna say, because now I'm back on, but I want you to, people to understand, and this is something just from my heart right here, okay? This is a free service that you offer. It is something that you get compensated by, but you, I think, and I've said it before, really take the time that I've never seen anyone else that really, really cares. And I love these questions that you have brought together, because you know what, I think no one ever asked those questions, and they should be. We should make it a giveaway, those list of questions.
Well, as a matter of fact, we do, because one of the ways I was going to close out this session was to offer, that's okay, was to offer a white paper with these questions, basically. So anybody who wants a white paper, call in, and I'll give you my number here. It's 1-520-850-2101, basically. Now that's a Tucson number, but don't be alarmed by that. Actually, my office is based in Mesa. I live in Phoenix, and I have a North Central Phoenix office just as well. But to answer the question of how I stack up, just about every one of these, as Carol said, I take care of. I'm a complete service kind of a guy. I treat you like I would like my mother or my grandmother treated, basically. That's the qualifier. That's what's important, basically. I will take the time, irrespective of compensation to be earned. I will take the time. I could increase my earnings if I pushed and steered Medicare Advantage plans. Medicare Advantage plans are good, but they're not the best thing for everybody, basically. You have to be presented with a slate of options and make your choice. Now, sometimes people tell me it's a devil or the deep blue sea choice, but quite often, and quite often it really is. You have to get your priorities lined up. because like any other financial product, there's a bright silver side and there's a dull side on the back, basically. And you've got to take a look at both sides, ferret out your priorities in order to arrive at a good decision for yourself. But your decision should come only after you have been exposed to all of the options, basically.
Just call Howard. His
Thank
phone
you.
number is 520-850-2101. Write that number down and put it in your phone. You know, Medicare season is around the corner, right? But everybody there's people that are 65 that are turning 65 every day.
Absolutely. Well, Carol,
Go
to
ahead.
kind of close things out, basically, there are a couple points I want people to take away from this session, basically. I want them to realize that Medicare is too important and too complex to trust to an absolute stranger making a cold call, and it's not a do-it-yourself event either, basically. Get help. Find and get to know a good, knowledgeable, and trustworthy local broker appointed to enroll a variety of carriers. And a broker works for you, but you pay him nothing. Zip, zero, nada. The broker is paid by the insurance carrier, but the broker's primary concern is you, the consumer, and getting you signed up for the plan that you want, the plan of your choice. And finally, if you'd like that white paper, as I mentioned, go ahead and that white paper on
the
interview
questions.
questions, basically. Go ahead and give me a call, 520-850-2101. Give me that call.
I'll tell you something, folks. I would want that white paper. I don't know anyone that's ever talked about the questions that you should be asking the Medicare agent that you've been talking to. You do want to talk to someone local here. You have a 520 number, but you do have offices here. Tell them where they are, really again.
Once again, I do have an office in Mesa, I have a satellite office in North Phoenix, and I travel throughout the state. So we've got you covered. Let's get you covered properly. Let's get you covered with the plan of your choice and your choosing, basically. And maybe, Carol, we need to move away from insurance and talk a little bit about what's going on in the world right now. I've been heavily influenced by the Olympics and heavily influenced by the Hall of Fame game, which we had over the weekend, and the presentation of the members to the Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame, that is. And I get the sense that all these people were, when they win their event, basically, when they get what they want, which is the gold medal or the high standings or the yellow jacket, basically, they always talk about their coaches. They talk very lovingly about their coaches. I'm in the Medicare coaching business. I coach winners, basically, and that's the important part of being on the show with you today.
I love that analogy. I thought it was great when we talked about it earlier. You said it perfectly here. I just want to ask you, how long have you been in this Medicare field?
Oh, you don't really want to know. Well, let's put it this way. I've been involved with insurances since the mid-90s. That's not my mid-90s, that's the mid-90s. And I've been involved with Medicare since about 1998. And Medicare Advantage since 2006 when it made its debut.
So you know it, but you know it inside and out. You know the history
Well,
about it and everything.
Better than that, I'm on Medicare, so I know it from
And
the inside out.
I think what also is really important for people to listen up and listen very carefully. Everybody has a different story, right? And each person, and your story changes all the time. That's why when you talk to people and you say, you know, you need to make your Medicare guy, your broker, you need to make him your friend, right? For life.
Absolutely.
It's not something that's a one and done, wham bam, like you said. It's done where you become their friend. They're going to change. It goes over and over. Their prescriptions change because their health changes daily sometimes.
Let's make it simple. Just call Howard.
That phone number to call is 520-850-2101. If you've got any questions, he's got that white paper that he wants you to have. Everyone should ask them. You can call him, again, at Just Call Howard. It's 520-850-2101.